Yeah, welcome everyone. Let us just take a few moments to ingather ourselves. Invoking Mother's and Sure Bindu's presence, that we may get guided rightly by the words that we go through. So today we have the prayer of May 25th, 1914 with us. Yeah, let us see what can we take away today from this prayer. Yeah, if anyone would like to read, please go ahead.
Namaskar, ma'am. I'll read it. May 25, 1914. O divine master of love and purity, grant that in its least stages, its smallest activities, this instrument which wants to serve thee worthily may be purified of all egoism, all error, all obscurity, so that nothing in it may impair, deform, or stop thy action. How many little recesses, how many little recesses lie yet in shadow, far from the full light of thy illumination? For these I ask the supreme happiness of this illumination. Oh, to be the pure, flawless crystal which lets thy divine ray pass without obscuring, coloring, or distorting it, not from a desire for perfection, but so that thy work may be done as perfectly as possible. I'll just read this one more time. Oh, to be the pure, flawless crystal which lets thy divine ray pass without obscuring, coloring, or distorting it, not from a desire for perfection, but so that thy work may be done as perfectly as possible. Ma'am, should I continue reading?
Yes, please.
And when I ask thee this, the I which speaks to thee is the entire earth, aspiring to be this pure diamond, a pure reflector of thy supreme light. All the hearts of men beat within my heart, all their thoughts vibrate in my thought. The slightest aspiration of a docile animal or a modest plant unites with my formidable aspiration, and all this rises towards thee for the conquest of thy love and light, scaling the summits of being to attain thee, ravish thee from thy motionless beatitude, from thy motionless beatitude, and make thee penetrate the darkness of suffering to transform it into divine joy, into sovereign peace. And this violence is made of an infinite love which gives itself, and a trustful serenity which smiles with the certitude of thy perfect unity. I'll just read this one more time. And this violence is made of an infinite love which gives itself, and a trustful serenity which smiles with the certitude of thy perfect unity. O my sweet master, thou art the trumper and triumph, the victor and the victory. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Often we wonder that right now, in whatever stage of consciousness we may be, it's of course not the fullest possible. What should be the attitude? And I think with Mother's prayers and meditations, this is so peculiar. With every prayer, we get the highest possible attitude that we can take right now when I'm in half lit ignorance. It's like half light, half here, half there, not fully there. So, what should be the attitude? So, Mother says, this should be the attitude that grant that in its least stages, trivial, day to day, mundane activities, thoughts, inward at being that is there, the ripples that are going on. Grant that in its least stages, its smallest activities, this instrument which wants to serve thee worthily. Again, this has to be, our conviction that what do I want to do with my life? If that conviction is not there, then of course this prayer is not useful for me. It's only useful that something in the being knows that this is the highest possible direction. Not only the highest possible, actually, this is the meaning of our human birth. So if I am convinced that this is what it is, then what should be the attitude? That this instrument which wants to serve thee worthily, so that want has to be there, the willingness has to be there, may be purified of all egoism, all error, all obscurity, so that nothing in it may impair, deform, or stop thy action. So we were talking the other day of how to know the divine will. And we know that the divine will is already in operation, but behind the veil. At times it gets distorted because there are curtains through which it passes, but it's in action. So whether I'm interacting with a person, whether I'm at a workplace, whatever engagement in day-to-day affairs that I am engaged in, the attitude, if this can be this, that may this instrument which wants to now serve you only, may it be purified of all egoism, all error, all obscurity, that my desires don't come in between, that my biases, I know that I have biases, but let them not come in between. So a prayer is there in the being, so that nothing in it may impair, deform, or stop thy action. And that's why Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about becoming desireless. Because if I have desires, if I have likings and preferences, then I will definitely form a curtain and it will be a distortion of the divine will. So here we see that let nothing in me. So you take a step back, although you are acting, but it's a disinterested action. You are not wanting any fulfillment from that action. Your fulfillment comes from somewhere else. This you are doing because it's whatever has to be done, and may it be done in the bestest possible way without my own distortions, since I know that I have distortions. So again, those of us who again and again get confused, almost all of us, that what should be my attitude when I'm not all the time in touch with that divine will or direct connect. This should be the attitude. Aspiring. So if I have manipulations, may I become aware of those manipulations. In the second one, Mother says, the next lines, how many little recesses lie yet in shadow. I know that I don't know of all my being. There are hidden things here and there. How many little recesses lie yet in shadow, far from the full light of thy illumination. Creepy crawly things in the corners lying somewhere. For these I ask the supreme happiness of this illumination. So we most of the times are hiding. We are defending our own errors, imperfections, insecurities. They're like hiding. I don't want to bring them in front. So Mother says that even their fulfillment lies in this illumination, which will fall. When light comes on that creepy crawly thing, so it feels for some time it wriggles, it because it is out of its comfort zone. But even its fulfillment lies in this illumination. As Mother says, it hurts whenever we look at our deepest shadows. But let the light fall on it, so that whether it may hurt me, I am ready to endure. But it should not keep lying in darkness. May life show me more and more of such darknesses so that I become aware of it. Because when I will become aware of it, then I will not let it curtain your divine will. Yeah, anything here?
Yeah, I resonated with this last line, I mean, among other things, the supreme happiness of this illumination. Although when it's happening, right, like things that are lying in the darkness, they appear to give me a sense of security or a sense of I-ness. Yes, this, I am. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. These are some things that I don't even share with my own self. And, I feel that this is, like how they say that don't dry your dirty laundry in public, for example. And yet, when I'm holding on to things, when I'm trying to shove them under the carpet, I am inhibiting something. I am, in that game of covering and yeah, shoving it under the carpet. I'm not fully my expansive self, that is my possibility. So the supreme happiness of this illumination, although it would be painful, and yet the joy that would come from that light would be supreme happiness. So knowing that, what you shared from Dr. Alok Pandey, right, that how in usual things in life, there is right now happiness, and later we'll say, oh, I don't want to floss daily, but then I'll be on the dentist chair and then I'll wonder, okay, why didn't I floss, for example? And yet here, right now, I have to, seems like pay the price or take the hardship. But the ultimate is supreme happiness. So this reminder again and again is something I feel I need. Yeah, thank you.
I think it's a beautiful attitude to take, when, even when we may be still to a certain degree ruled by the older patterns. But if something in us begins to change, and when we are in the middle of that chaotic, entangled situation, and something in my being says that nothing in me wants to defend where I am standing. So I think it's a very big step in wanting to purify the being, because you see the patterns are still active, you see that they are there, but you own, as if you also own, that yes, this happened, but and I have nothing to say in my defense. I, and so I think already a kind of a detachment begins to happen there from the pattern. Earlier I know myself as the pattern, so I keep defending, why did I do that, oh, this is what I meant, all the explanations that I give all the time, because we are so identified with those patterns which rule us. But here, if in the middle of pattern, the pattern maybe is relatively still active, but and if I find myself in a situation which is an entangled, painful situation, and I also see that no, I did a mistake, because it was an identification with the pattern, and now nothing in my being defends it. It's just the pattern, and I am more than the pattern. So I think already something has begun to shift in not defending the patterns. And also humiliation. I think many a times we want to run away from humiliation, ego, our ego consciousness. And who gets humiliated? Of course, the ego consciousness, that feels insulted, rejected, doesn't want to feel insulted and rejected. So when I am ready to now be insulted and rejected, if I own whatever has happened, and it's okay, I can go through it. It means already a detachment from that ego consciousness has started, because of these patterns, if they are still active to a relative degree, some insult or humiliation or rejection will come. But if I go through that humiliation, it means that I'm already dissociating from the sense of ego consciousness. I'm more than that. So I can go through that. Whatever pain is there when these shadows are showing themselves up. And it's a bliss to be nobody, as they say. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying this word that you said, defending. I think that's really important. Like the amount of energy that goes into defending. Because there's still something in me that feels that no, this itna to meri responsibility hai, right? No, this much I owe. I have this role, I have this title. This is the bare minimum that I must do. So it's just that, we reduce and reduce and reduce and reduce, and yet we are holding on to still so many things under pretext of so much, like some respect, some image, some thing that I feel is sacred or important. And then the defenses are there, right? That yes, I don't want to, but what do I do? I don't want to, but this fully giving away of I don't want to defend anymore. I think both ways, right? Neither that the actions that I'm doing, if they seem weird, there's no defense. This is what I feel a calling towards, and that's it. No explanations, no justifications, no defenses even there, no and nothing here. So I think if one can look at it, one can really just by this leave a lot of baggages that one is unknowingly, blindingly carry. That yes, I don't want to be me. Thank you for sharing.
Ma'am, what is the process of forgetting oneself? Like, you know, like growing up with so many habits and so many experiences and so many memories. So, all these cultivate that, all these, in a way or another, all these strengthen that ego, or, give fuel to that ego to, like Taru ma'am was saying, um, what is my bare responsibility, by my minimum, that's the minimum I need from an individual or a group. So if I were to start to forget myself, to forget my past, to be no, like you said, to be nobody, then where should I begin with? Like, where should I start? And how do I practice this every day? So, hoping one day I can truly forget myself.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful question. There's an example which comes to me when such kind of uh, context comes. It works. I feel so far it shares a right picture. So if imagine that you're just strolling around and somebody says a comment to you, somebody insults you, rejects you, or hurls abuses at you, kali wali, you will actually get entangled because you're just strolling around, nothing really much to do. And that person is insulting you. You will ask that person, why did you insult me? क्या बिगाड़ा था मैंने तेरा? मैं आपसे related भी नहीं हूँ, तब भी आप कुछ भी बोले जा रहे हो, whatever. So you will get engaged and you will drain a lot of energy there. But if you are not strolling around, and if you are just crossing that person, he may hurl still an abuse at you, but you have a flight to catch, very important flight. What will you do? You will actually listen to that abuse. Okay, something maybe goes on in your mind for a couple of seconds, maybe minutes, but then you go and catch your flight, and it's relatively out of your mind because that person is gone and you have something important to do. So I feel that it's very very hard to self abnegate, to be self forgetful, if we don't have something higher which is more important than me, little me, in our life. It's almost close to impossible. And even in the middle of that big work, there will be instances where you will be again and again pulled towards this little me. So this little me seems little, but it's very huge, very huge, big ego. Seems like, oh, poor me, but it's actually like poor me. So apart from that, I can't see personally. Of course, there may be other windows to it, but I even after that, I see that even when I give myself a higher engagement, even then in the middle of that, it keeps poking its nose. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं कहीं चली गई हूँ स्टोरी, मैं यहीं बैठी हूँ, आप क्या समझ रहे थे, so like that it keeps sitting. But then I say that I can shrug it off my shoulder because, oh, there is a flight to catch, there is something important waiting. If that something important is not waiting, then it sits on my shoulder because I have so much time, I'm unemployed. So it knows, okay, I can sit here and enjoy my time here. But when you have something important, which now this thing doesn't matter, again, two people, if they are just a second, if two people are fighting, husband wife mostly, or whatever, family relatives fighting, तूने मेरे साथ ये किया, property matter, wealth matter, oh you didn't approve of me, or you insulted me, rejected me, all these discussions are going on. Now suddenly there is a fire in the house where they are sitting. What will they do? They will run for their lives. forgetting about, maybe helping each other actually. If they are not really enemies, helping each other to get out of that fire. Now, where is the emotional distress? Where are the complaints? Because now something is more important. Life is more important than this. So save your life. ये बाद में करते रहेंगे. फिर वो जाके बाद में फिर वो चाय पियेंगे कहीं थड़ी पे आराम से. Okay, relax. हो सांस में सांस आई. Okay, then they may resume the discussion. Okay, कहाँ पे थे? What we were talking about, your expectation, my expectation. No. So this reminds us that whatever we consider important, and we keep on going loops around and round and round, and we think, wow, very important. They're actually not that important. Because in front of something important, like saving our lives, all that is so trivial, so trivial. Where are my complaints when I'm fighting a fire? Gone. No, but we don't live that way. We live making those things important. We live not making that this life is precious. But in the moment of fire, life becomes precious. Suddenly, that life is taken for granted, filled with all the garbage. 24/7 garbage, garbage, garbage. That doesn't look like garbage. That seems very important. My role, daughter-in-law, daughter, mother, my responsibility as a wife, all kinds of things. They come up. So to remember those instances where we have been saved, we all have been saved. We all have glimpses of the such being saved from something. We are saved every day. Think about it. We go on road. I'm sure all of us go on road every day. We come back alive. How many times do we feel grateful that, oh, I came back alive? Isn't that amazing? I wasn't hit. But then suddenly the life is taken for granted, and whatever that person said, oh, you didn't do this in the morning, you didn't do that in the morning, that becomes so important. So I think this is what we have to constantly remembrance. That's why we talk about remembrance, sumiran. Remember what is important, remember what is important, remember what is not important. Then we can keep light. Because if I consider my life precious, then won't I want to keep continuity in this beauty and lightness of life? Because it's precious. But very soon something else becomes precious. My self-respect. Oh, how did you say that to me? I have donated this much amount to your ashram or whatever. People say that how could you insult me? I have donated. I was reading a letter, where somebody, just because there was a miscommunication, he actually came to a point to remind how much donation he had given to the ashram in all the previous years. So it means all that donation is worth nothing because it's still attached to the ego consciousness. Oh, see how much I gave. पीछा like 5 साल का पिछला चिट्ठा उसने याद दिला दिया for this little thing which he could not, he actually felt insecure of that. Oh, my self-respect gone to dump. So let me remind how much I contribute. So I think this is our day-to-day practice. That's why we meet for these sessions, so that we can remind ourselves what is most precious and live practically keeping that as most precious. Simplicity of mind, simplicity of heart. What is more precious than that? Purification of my being. I may have a divorce. I may lose, something in my life. I may be in rags on the street. All that is secondary, actually. All that is secondary. What matters is what is my inner state of being. If that is happy, that is content, that is in connect with the divine, with simplicity, life can be beautiful. Yeah, so coming back to the question, giving us a higher aim, as Mother says. And even then, it's not easy, but it's easier.
Yes.
Hmm.
These examples you gave about going, catching a flight, someone yelling, or families arguing about properties. The fire comes up. In these examples, the ultimate goal of escaping the fire, of catching a flight, these things I find are very tangible. Like growing up, I've मेरा एग्जाम था 3 महीने के बाद क्वार्टरली एग्जाम्स लेकिन वीडियो गेम was more tangible. It was instant. I could just open it up, hold on to the joystick, and that's it. So the question is not why divine is not tangible. The question is how can I seek for the divine like it is equally as tangible or even more tangible in a way that it actually I can actually feel it and live in it versus yes.
Yeah, I think that's why, again, that's why we have to lose, at times we lose things. Like if I lose my leg, then it becomes so important the rest of the leg that is there. Oh, at least I have that. So in our ignorance, we actually, in our forgetfulness, that thing which you are sharing is not tangible. You're right. Other things are more tangible. And from somewhere I will have delight. Whether it's a joystick in front of me or divine joy, doesn't matter. That joystick in front of me or on my phone, that's a matter of delight for me. It gives me delight. But, and I would not be able to stop really. It's very hard. I would not be able to stop until these things actually give me delight. So go on. Go on with your joystick, go on with your whatever gives you delight. There comes a point in our time, all of us, where these things don't bring me delight. Then I begin to look for something else. That I don't see that something else. Kuch to hai lekin, something must be there. If the seeking is there, then something must be there. And also the other aspect is cultivating. See, why are you finding joy in a joystick? The habit has been cultivated. Somebody exposed you to that joystick. You started to maneuver with it. Soon, then later, you begin to have joy in it. Cultivation of a habit. Very logical. So how do I find joy in divine or joy in myself and not dependent on these? Cultivation. Why would you cultivate? If someone will expose it in front of you. They will say, okay, ye Gita padhi hai samne, Upanishad padhe hai, whatever. Something is there, mother's words are there, let us read. So you begin to read. As grace will have it, maybe you find connections with your life. And you begin to, oh, what a revelation. So give you joy. Then you come back to it again, gives you joy, reveals something in your life. So if it's not useful for you, if it's not giving you joy, why will I cultivate anything? And that's why love is so important here. Relationships, good sangha, good community is so important. Because if I have a friend who is on the same path, out of love, he will share, oh, did you see this book, by Mother and Sri Aurobindo? Yeah, I was reading, going through these words. Have you gone through these words? So joyful. So person exposes. Or a friend who has gotten a new computer game. वो भी तो exposure ही होता है ना? वो बोलता है, oh, why don't you borrow this game from me? It's giving me so much of delight. You also have this delight. And that's why they say importance of sangha, importance of satsangat, community. So slowly cultivation, it's a habit, and with cultivation, you will see what kind of a joy would I want in my life. This joy, that joy. You will know. And you will be the chooser. You will choose. But before choosing comes exposure. And nowadays, there is so much exposure already. Even YouTube, you may want to watch something filthy or something else, but something will come up. Some mother's Sri Aurobindo's talk, something will pop up from somewhere. So we can be thankful that I was going to just watch something which will be derogatory, but see, something came up and that absorbed me. So as if there is a competition going on, actually, divine, anti-divine forces. Who wins? Even on social media. So yeah, just one of these aspects that is coming to me right now. I'm sure there are more, but yeah, this is what comes.
I think you clearly explained it. I'm able to understand.
Hmm. And the shirt you are wearing, it's catching my attention. It's with 12 petals of,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is
12
marvelous. I
qualities.
think.
Yeah, yeah. So do you know all these? Is this also written? All these 12 qualities, are they written?
Not here, but I know those Saraswati, Durga, and everything.
Yeah, so those
Even
are in the inner four petals are the four aspects of Mother: Mahasaraswati,
yes,
Mahakali, Maheshwari.
yes.
One more.
Mm,
Hmm? And then,
Saraswati,
yeah, Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, and Mahalakshmi.
Mahalakshmi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then outside are the 12 qualities required on the path of sadhana. And
Yes,
actually, if we just remain with the symbol, enough for lifetime, all these qualities: sincerity,
yes.
vigilance, attitude towards the divine, humility, gratitude. So उसी में काम हो जाएगा. But again, we have a monkey mind, so we keep on jumping. Mother symbol is not enough. We want more. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, it's good to remind with the shirt in front of us. Yeah, anything here? Anyone wants to add on?
When I first listened to this question, like what can we do to forget ourselves, it was like a funny feeling, understanding that it's a paradox. Like I cannot do something to forget about myself. Like it's gone, uh, and at the same time we have something to do, but it's a strange quality of work. Um, and when you were talking. I remember a book I was reading from John Halifax, which is a Zen Buddhist nun, uh, that I recommend highly. It's called Being with Dying, because she worked a long time uh, accompanying people on the last days, uh, and and she speaks about a friend of hers that had a cancer diagnosis, and he realized how shallow his life was, and all the wrong things he was doing. So he had like an awakening and started to change some things. But after a year, he got well, he cured, and and he find himself again with the same old patterns, you know, pursuing wealth and women, and I don't know what else. So he was not even in the same place. He was also depressed, like he had a glimpse of something higher, and then going back again in this circle, he was, you know, very depressed. And so she was saying, like, quoting a Zen teacher who said something like, I don't care much about uh, enlightenment or the moment of awakening, but I care more about the next day, something like that, like this. Uh, like you were talking about constant reminding, and yes, this necessity of being alert, and it's not a battle that you can win one day.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. And again, this thing that you shared, that he had a glimpse So although the patterns may be still running, he may have the still same habits, running after women or whatever, partying around. But the depression that you shared, that's the good sign, that I can't find delight in those patterns anymore. They are still running, they still have power over me. But since I have a glimpse of something higher, there is also an aversion in the being for the present state that is running. And we can't be happy. And that is the tunnel through which we then move forward. That tunnel of disgust with our older self and this depression. Yeah, please.
No, yes, agree totally. And if we continue to have this double awareness, like I am still running and don't doing anything about changing myself, and at the same time having a glimpse of something higher, it's kind of devastating for your soul is like struggling, and it can be very, very painful.
Yeah, beautiful.
The anecdote she was sharing, she said that when they talked again and he was saying all this, she was just present with him, and and he told her something like with her presence, he thought she was seeing something in him that he was not aware, like she was uh, seeing seeing in him something deeper, and that presence helped him to see it in him. I don't know if I was clear. Like she was sharing this talk with him, and she was very present, and and he felt like she was seeing this inner profound being inside himself, and that presence helped him to see it too.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. Oh, to be the pure, flawless crystal which lets thy divine ray pass without obscuring, coloring, or distorting it. And we have to see that most of the times the color I may want to give a color, it doesn't appear like I'm coloring or distorting. It appears like as if I'm beautifying. We have so much faith in our thoughts and opinions and ideas that as if उसके बिना काम ही कहाँ चलेगा. तो मेरा ओपिनियन था, मेरा आइडिया था. So it doesn't appear like I'm obscuring through my own curtains. It appears that as if I'm adding on. So this example I was sharing with you, that person who reminded us that oh my God, how much I have donated to the ashram. So the line that kind of really shocked me was that what a loss of people now who would not be able to attend my workshop. And this tells me that how much importance we give ourselves. And here is Mother, the Divine Mother, in prayers and meditations saying, if not your work gets happened through me, if some other instrument, what matters is your work should get happened. And here are we, that so important, my work, they don't know what they have lost. So this is divine humility on other hand, and here is the arrogance of the ego, which considers itself so important. And that curtain, we consider it so important, like my curtain, not even a curtain, my beautification. What can be more beautiful than the pure, divinity shining through in work, in actions, in speech, in mind? But no, I have to add on my own layer. So that's where, we have to get unsure and unsurer of our own ways. Only then, as Kabirji says actually in one of the, again, very famous of his words, where he says, Chadariya jhini re jhini, पांच तत्व गुण तीनी, ज्यों की त्यों धर दीनी. So he talks about this thin, delicate cloth. Now, I feel that it's a reference to our nature, made of panch tattva, 5 elements, teen gun, the 3 qualities of tamas, rajas, and sattva. So this is what nature is made of, 3 qualities, 5 elements. And then he says, what have I done? I have just left it as it is. I have not dirtied it. It's very delicate, so delicate that it lets the divine will pass through, doesn't obscure. And then he also shares all the things which make it purified. He says, like, Surat Shilape Pakad Pachati. So he says that awareness is like a big rock on which my guru, like as if you have a cloth in your hand and you are beating that wet cloth on that rock, big rock of awareness. So my guru takes it in the hand and now beats it on the rock of awareness. And that's how it gets purified. So I feel that there is a touch of transformation of nature even there with Kabirji's words. That it's not just escaping into some luminescence, but here right now in my activities, and we will see so many couplets of Kabirji. What are you doing? What he will comment our day-to-day activities. Why are you doing these rituals when it doesn't mean anything to you, for example? Yeah, anything? Anyone wants to add on here? And also she adds on, not from a desire for perfection, that self-aggrandization, that see, I am the one who is doing it so perfectly, that I never gone anywhere. So not from a desire for perfection, but so that thy work may be done as perfectly as possible. The only desire is, if it can be called a desire, it would rather be called an aspiration, that thy work may be done as perfectly as possible. That's why make my being purified. Not make my being purified because amongst the 100 others, I can shine and rise and see the one who is solely purified. So not from a desire for perfection, but so that thy work may be done as perfectly as possible, so that I may not malign thy work. Yeah, anything here?
The color aspect that you were touching upon, that how we're trying to color and we think there's beauty in color, which there is. With a friend a couple of days back, we were talking about rainbows, with how beautiful the rainbows are and stuff. And yet it is my limitation that I need to see a rainbow to find the sky beautiful, right? And the sky is the source of like limitless rainbows. At will, it can create. And yet, my limitation that I see a rainbow and I say it's beautiful. So this thing that I keep, how will I not want to be coloring if I love color, right? Like if I'm feeling that color is the beauty and that whiteness, so, it can be disregarded. How will I take the next step? How will I get polished? Like you were saying, how will I get beaten on that rock when that limited awareness is fulfilling me and attracting me? It's very interesting. That even when we're talking about tangible, right? It's amazing how we feel that death is intangible when we have seen bodies lie in front of us. Like, I don't think there's anybody who would have not actually seen a dead body or gone to a funeral ever, even once in life. It's as tangible as anything, and yet there is some inherent blinding, some veils that we keep forgetting. And so many masters and mystics have said, remember, 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 right? That you'll die, you'll die, you'll die. And it could be today. And yet it's my cleverness that I say, yeah, maybe today, but not right now. Let me end that right now. But that really helps if one can remind oneself daily that today could be the last day, which it could be, and one day it will be, and the day could be today. That too really helps.
Yeah. Then she goes on, with most of the prayers mother takes with her, like in Tonglen, when we connect with our pain. I'm feeling confused in my ego consciousness, or I'm betrayed in my relationship. I connect with my pain, and then I use that moment to connect with the pain of humanity that grows through that instance, goes through that instance. When somebody, how do they feel when somebody feels rejected, insulted, feels confused, feels lost, abandoned, suffocating in ego consciousness? Now I know their pain. So in Buddhism also we have this tool, and mother in her many prayers also includes the whole earth. She connects with that pain and she aspires for the whole earth. So, and when I ask thee this, the I which speaks to thee is the entire earth. And this also comes as a practice actually, like when we are sharing the merit. What do? Whatever goodness I may have achieved, I share it with everyone, all the sentient beings, not only all human beings, all the sentient beings. Nothing good I want to keep only with myself. Let that good get distributed. And then here mother says, through this pain, I connect with the pain of humanity, the earth kind, mankind and beyond. And let all the people, all of us who want to be, who are aspiring. So she says, this I which speaks to thee is the entire earth, aspiring to be this pure diamond. So not only me. And that's why in the earlier line she's saying that desire for perfection is not that I should become perfect. It's like a collective sadhana happening. All of us who feel so suffocated, limited, incapacitated by those, by the ignorance of not knowing ourselves fully, aspiring to be this pure diamond, nobody can be happy there. See, imagine, consider your own state. We have to consider how suffocated we feel in that ego consciousness, limited. How can anyone feel happy there? So just like I am suffering, isn't the whole humanity, at least humanity, suffering? So she takes everyone along and she says the whole earth, entire earth, aspiring to be this pure diamond, a perfect reflector of thy supreme light. So I pray from behalf of everyone. Like in Buddhism, we say even when we are doing prostrations, they say imagining that the whole earth is prostrating, not only human beings, but all the creatures, big and small, insects, spiders, Jatsunma shares. Everyone is bowing down in front of those Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. All the enemies, all the friends, everything you take together. All the hearts of men beat within my heart. So when we feel separated, I am jealous of somebody else's progress and that person is jealous of mine, all those things can be taken care of by this. That when I am praying, I pray for everyone. Even all my enemies are in my heart. It's a prayer collective. All the hearts of men beat within my heart. She is identifying with the earth consciousness, which is dipped in obscurity and ignorance. All their thoughts vibrate in my thought. The slightest aspiration of a docile animal or a modest plant unites with my formidable aspiration. And all this rises towards thee for the conquest of thy love and light, for only love can transform. So let that love conquer everything, conquer every darkness. For the conquest of thy love and light, scaling the summits of being to attain thee, ravish thee from thy motionless beatitude. So one is static Brahman, and then the other is dynamic Brahman. The static aspect of realization, and then the dynamic aspect of realization, where it comes forth in action, and make thee penetrate the darkness of suffering to transform it into divine joy, into sovereign peace. So first that aspiration rises, like mother says, like a flame going upwards, upwards, upwards. What it brings down is your light and love that descends into this obscurity, because only that can transform. So you go up, 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 you call that force down, and it penetrates like rain. You know how rain happens? It's a beautiful imagery. Like dry, parched land rises, cracks, it rises. Please give us some moisture. Clouds form, and they come as an answer and moisture, even the depths of that parched soil. Otherwise, what will happen to that parched ground? Nothing. We don't have the capacity to moisten it, no matter how much water we may put. So poking that motionless beatitude, that hilo, like move, because there is dynamic aspect of Brahman there also, in that static aspect. So move, and calling that Shakti downward. But that Shakti would not come downward if I don't require that Shakti, actively. So that's why we were talking of being unsure of our own capacity. A child, little child, when he's playing around happily, doesn't remember the mother, he's just playing around, so lost in the friends and everything. Then he's feeling thirsty and feeling lack of energy. Then he remembers the mother. Where is the mother? Then he begins to look for the mother. So that helplessness has to be there. In that aspiration rises and then calls the mother downwards to moisten, to quench the thirst. And this violence is made of an infinite love, which gives itself, and a trustful serenity, which smiles with the certitude of thy perfect unity.
Yes, I think this. Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead. I just keep on speaking. Yeah, please.
No, I was rereading this, and I think I see like two dimensions of truth here. Like on one side, she embodies the divine mother's consciousness, and so this uh, being like having all the hearts of men beat within her heart, it it has like in some way a different meaning, uh, or a different dimension of reality compared with our limited consciousness. But at the same time, I see, I agree with what you said. Like it's also an example for us to widen our consciousness, and I feel it very helpful. Like many times, I feel myself focused on, even in prayer, with what I need, with what I wish, or, or more personal things, and this understanding, this aspiration to aspire for all humanity, that for ask for every one of us, for all sentient beings. It's a wonderful exercise, and it's a wonderful thing to widen our consciousness too.
Yeah. I think the problem is that we consider ourselves, we mostly identify ourselves with being a limited person. And it feels unnatural when we are widening ourselves. It feels unnatural. Like it seems that, oh, that's the Divine Mother. She can do it, but who am I? How can I do it? But again, I feel that, of course, she is the Divine Mother. But I think she's also showing us the way, that this is how you do it. Because you are not what you think you are. So it feels very natural when somebody says, oh, you poor suffocated fellow. Yeah, feels, yeah, that's me. But somebody says, oh, you divine fellow, I don't resonate with it. Because there is no practical realization. And that's why we call it widening of consciousness. Because right now I live in a limited, suffocated consciousness. That is not my true nature. But it has become my true nature only because of being habituated to it. And that's why widening feels like as if you are doing something which is not meant for me. In the beginning, widening feels actually that what am I doing? It's meant for somebody else, but not for me. I am a mortal being. But as we gradually progress in this widening, more and more we feel actually more habituated there in the widened consciousness, and less habituated in the suffocated consciousness. So again, I think it's a matter of what we are habituated to. And Mother has opened up these prayers and meditations because so that we can walk this path.
I was feeling that, of course, aspiration is so important. Even when Jagan, when asked the question that how can we self-abnegate oneself, how can we really forget? And one thing that like from my experience, I felt is that aspiration does help, asking every day to to keep, even to mechanically keep this aspiration sometimes, to do that. I remember I had the habit of just talking unconsciously, not talking, but when in anger, especially saying whatever I just wanted to say unconsciously. And as you begin in the path, you realize how important to have a control of one's speech. And I just, it seemed so impossible, because when anger takes over, it was so hard to not say what one wanted. And then I aspired, like I just said it to her, that please, can you please help me with this? And there was an aspiration, and it did work. I was able to control the reaction. Like I couldn't really, I was able to control in that second. But then I realized, and I was very happy. I said, oh, that's simple, that's simple. But then I realized that even the outer reaction has stopped, the inner has not stopped. So there was still, this thing. So that even when Jagan asked that, how can we really self-forget? It didn't really happen, even though I thought aspiration can really do the trick and really saying it. And I'm still struggling, I think. But one thing that I felt is that aspiration alone at this stage might not help, and grace together with aspiration. Like when you were discussing yesterday, ascent and descent, both. Sometimes we tend to forget, and like especially me, like I feel that I sometimes really put effort on my effort. Okay, I can do it. I just say it and just aspire, and that's it. But then I forget that with aspiration, aspiration cannot work without grace. So kind of having both, and when it works together, indeed everything can be made possible. In that sense, to realize your own divine self as well. It cannot take place, I feel, like, at least for me, without the grace. No matter how much deep my aspiration is, the realization will always be half complete. Maybe the outer has transformed with my aspiration, with a lot of effort, of course we can, but the inner will not. Something will remain. Especially our inner reactions, are so hard
Yeah.
to kind of have control over. So in that sense, I was just, since we're talking about aspiration.
Yeah, but if you look closely, the last sentence also that we're coming to, and what you were sharing, if you look closely, what is it that is making you aspire? Because when you are sharing, it seems like, okay, aspiration is here, grace is here. This alone doesn't work. This has to come. But what is it that's making you aspire? It's only one. Because of grace, I am aspiring. वो मुर्गी पहले आई या अंडा? So we can get lost here. Did I aspire first, or did grace come first? So it's, of course, as you were sharing, without grace, how can aspiration develop? And that's where actually we close the prayer today, what we were sharing. Oh, my sweet master, thou art the triumpher, and the triumph, and the victory, and the victor. There are no 10,000 beings here. You are the one. You are the one who is suffering. You are the one who is aspiring. And you are the one who is retrieving, redeeming. मैं आया कहाँ से बीच में? बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना. Where am I in the middle? अगर सफर भी किया तो तूने किया. बचाया किसने? तूने. तो विन विन हो गई ना सिचुएशन. who is crying then? Only you, since there is no one. So again, I think with every prayer, mother closes, again, each note is so beautiful, and when she closes, like as if nothing can be said after that, although that's another matter. I keep on speaking. Oh, my sweet master, thou art the triumpher, and the triumph, the victor, and the victory. So you are the aspiration, you are the grace, you are the one making me aspire, you are me. See, again, she harmonizes everything like in a big whole. Fullness. उसके बाद कुछ ऐसा लगता है शब्द है ही नहीं. अब क्या बोलो, इसके बाद क्या बोलो? जीत भी उसकी, हार भी उसकी, तो मैं क्यों रहूं अपनी हार में? हार है तो उसकी है, फ्रस्ट्रेशन है तो उसकी है. But again, I think again, why we speak, because we are foolish beings and we distort these words and we say, अरे भैया जीत भी उसकी, हार भी उसकी, तो हारे हम, क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? वही तो हार रहा है. So, and that's where Sri Aurobindo clarifies for us in, for example, the book like The Mother, that as long as this personal me exists, personal effort is also required. Because something or the other you will do. So do this, please. So this can be said for those who are now purely wanting nothing but the divine manifestation. अब मैं कह सकती हूँ, you are the triumpher. So okay, how many times, million times of lifetimes it may take, it doesn't matter, because the person is on the right path. And that right path, actually we see, can change every moment. We can slip, we can again take the wrong path. So vigilance, one of the qualities, actually what 12 qualities of the mother. Vigilance. But in that moment, when a purity of the being is there, aspiration is there, then one can relax, because it takes time. What more can you do? And isn't that beautiful that grace is making you aspire? तो फिर वहीं हम शांत हो जाते हैं, लाइक आग ठंडी हो जाती है, जो आग एकदम से फ्रस्ट्रेट होने लगती है ना, अनॉयड होने लगती है, अरे अभी तक हुआ नहीं मेरा, कब होगा, इतने टाइम हो गया, मैं पढ़ रही हूँ मदर के वर्ड्स, मैं काम कर रही हूँ अपने ऊपर, और मेरे से बेटर तो वो बिहेव कर लेते हैं जो मदर के वर्ड्स नहीं पढ़ रहे। तो कभी कभी बड़ा गुस्सा आता है अपने ऊपर, है ना, तो क्या फायदा हुआ मदर के वर्ड्स पढ़ने का, मेरे से बेटर तो ये बिहेव कर रहे हैं जो मेरे सामने बैठे। सो ऑल दैट फ्रस्ट्रेशन देन कैन cool down, because then there is an aspiration, grace is there, everything is there. धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए, माली सींचे 100 गड़ा ऋतु आए फल होए। एंड देन अगेन फिर बोलना पड़ता है, क्योंकि यहाँ हम रुक नहीं सकते, फिर धीरे धीरे बोल दिया तो हम इनर्शिया में चले जाएंगे, तो फिर कबीर जी को बोलना पड़ता है, प्लीज जाग लो, वेकअप वेकअप, क्योंकि हम सो जाते हैं, हम धीरे धीरे में हम सो जाते हैं। this happens. So again, this is how amazing that how our mind keeps on changing, fickle minded we are, state of being keeps on changing. So poor masters, they have to come again and again, give us some inspiration. Otherwise we tend to sleep in inertia. Yeah. So yes, spoken so much, sorry for that. Once I start, I don't stop. Please, if any last comments are there, please share, and then we can end. Yeah. Okay, so if not anything, let's take a last moment to share, dedicate the merit. Sharing, dedicating all the merits, collective reflection, reading, understanding, clarity, sharing with all the sentient beings, near and far, aspiring or not aspiring, sharing it with them. May we all have fullness of heart, simplicity of mind, and joy, endurance, and progress in life. We'll have to endure with so much effort and trouble on the way, but let us endure. Let us endure. Let us all endure, so that we can have the joy of progress. Thank you.